And we are back. Welcome to another tutorial video on the channel where today I am going to be teaching you guys how to defend on EAFC. Now I know what you're all thinking.
That's not possible.
And look, I have to admit myself, this has probably been the hardest year of defending we have had for a very long while, but it is a brand new game and it is a brand new set of styles of play in terms of how you actually approach defending. And a major part of that is due to the play styles that EA have brought out. And we are going to spend a lot of this video talking about the play styles. But in terms of defending itself, you can really break it down into two categories. You are either someone that AI defends, or you are someone that manually defends. And we're going to touch on both of them over the course of this video. Myself, personally, I have always been a manual defender. I just don't trust the AI to do things for me. And also, as Roy Keane would put it,
I might smash into somebody just to make me feel better.
So if I do go into a little bit more detail regarding manual defending later on, it's just because it's what I use more. However, as things stand right now, I think both types of defending are equally viable. Now, what EA have done with the introduction of these 6 play styles that I'll put on screen for you now is they've attempted to balance, or should I say bridge the gap between AI and manual defending. Because as we know, through the last few FIFAs, AI defending has arguably been a little bit too overpowered in comparison to manual defending. However, I think right now the game is very balanced between the two of them, and that is due to the 6 play styles that you can see on your screen right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk you through how you AI defend and how you manually defend, how the 6 play styles correspond to the 2 variants of defending, and then at the end of it, we can discuss what is the best style of defending for you. Let's start off with what I still believe is the easier of the 2 defending styles, and that is AI defending. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the land of the rat. Because if you AI defend, then you don't play this game properly. You're the scum of the earth. You're the reason why this game sucks. And I am coming for you with my proper manual defending that's going to absolutely... Now look, as far as I'm concerned, you play this game however the hell you want. It's not on me or anyone else to tell you how you should or shouldn't play this game. As long as you're not hacking, as long as you're not actually breaking the game, play the game however you want. Like, the purpose of these tutorials is for you guys to end up getting more enjoyment out of this game and just having fun. And if you're someone who really struggles with manual defending, then I have no issue with you AI defending. And you will probably get more enjoyment out of the game by doing this. So this part of the video is going to be talking about the tactics that you need to use in-game to get the best use out of AI defending, and we're going to be focusing on 2 of the playstyles that EA have introduced this year, which are the Interceptor playstyle and the Blocker playstyle. So when we actually look at these playstyles descriptions, you can see why they're so effective for AI defending. The block playstyle increases the reach when performing a block and has an improved ability to make a successful block, and the Interceptor has an increased reach and an improved chance of retaining possession when balls are being intercepted. And obviously when you then extrapolate that up to the plus version, the block plus has an even greater reach, and then the Interceptor plus also has an even greater reach. So that is why it is so important to have these playstyles on the players that you are using when you are AI defending, because you do not need to be in control of these players for these playstyles to activate. For the other 4 that we'll get to in the manual defending, you actually have to be in control of that player to activate their playstyle. Whereas for the Intercept and for the block playstyles, the AI covers it all by themselves. And like I say, because they have that greater reach, it just allows them to make those interceptions and those blocks absolutely seamlessly without you even having to make any input. Now, in order to further maximize the potential of this AI defending, you need to make sure that you are using a formation that either has 1 or 2 CDMs. That is because the CDM position, as you can see here, has the defensive behavior section, which has cut passing lanes. And this is what you need to be using if you are AI defending. Roughly translated into English from EA talk, what this means is the AI will literally move around the spaces that your opponent is going to try and play passes into, and then will attempt to intercept the ball when passes are played into those areas. Now, obviously, if you're using a player that has Intercept or Intercept Plus, as we've just spoken about, there is an increased reach and an increased possibility that a ball is going to be intercepted. So if you are cutting the passing lanes, it will mean that your players will be more likely to intercept the ball. In addition to that, you can then set aggressive interceptions to be on as well, meaning that when players do play those passes, your players will actually make a more active effort to intercept something because they're on aggressive interceptions. And not only should you be doing this with your CDMs, but you should be doing this with your centre-backs as well. Now, obviously, this does burn a bit more stamina, but if you're using the right defenders and you know how to use them at the right times, and they've got that Intercept Plus, then you should be using aggressive interceptions, because essentially the AI will just see that as every single time someone plays a ball in towards your defender, they will make the effort to get across and make that interception with the increased reach and with the increased chance of actually making that interception. So here's a very basic example of how it works in game. You see our opponent has the ball, but instead of putting pressure on ourselves manually, what we do is we take control of a midfielder and let the AI cover the runs for us. Bringing David Beckham in, like someone that doesn't even have the interceptor or isn't even that good at defending. Just by allowing the AI to put those players in the right position, we win the ball back really simply. All you have to do is grab that midfielder, push RB initially so you can have that second man press, and just let the team defend for itself. It really is as simple as that. So before we move on to manual defending, here's just sort of a squad of players I've put together that you could potentially use if you want to use a lot of AI defending. Now, my top choice for a centre-back would have to be Eder Militao, because he has both block and intercept at the same time. He is just the epitome of an AI defender. He is exactly the sort of player you need to use if you're going to be playing like this. Again, you'll see I've gone for N'Golo Kante in midfield because he has Intercept Plus. Declan Rice, if you completed SBC, he has got block and intercept as well as that press proven plus, which is an absolute joke. You'll then see that I've got Cancelo and Gvardiol as the fullbacks. The reason for this is because they both have the block play style. Gvardiol, of course, can go through the upgrade at the moment, the evolution for the centre-backs for free, and he has the block plus. This is to prevent people overusing the finesse shot plus. As you can see from the clip here, you can see our opponent was actually able to get the finesse shot off because we didn't get the interception in midfield. This is a real problem for people that AI defend, because you are essentially allowing the most overpowered shot in the game to be accessible unless you can get your players there quickly enough, and that's why it's so imperative to have block on your fullbacks if you are going to play like this. Finally, I have to talk about the chemistry styles. And like I said, Eder Militao is the perfect example of this. He has already got 82 acceleration and 88 sprint speed, which means that, in my opinion, you don't need to give him any more pace. The majority of people will look at these stats and just give him an anchor just to boost his all-round stats. However, if you give him a sentinel, it boosts his interceptions and defensive awareness by 8, which essentially means he's going to be even better again at doing those interceptions and those blocks, because you're boosting the 2 stats on the actual card itself, which improve the likelihood of pulling off interceptions and blocks. And if it's any more consolation, a sentinel would also give him 99 jumping and 99 heading accuracy when he's also got aerial and power header traits. So watch my corner tutorial if you haven't done so already. And if you're going to AI defend, use Eder Militao. If those options are a bit too expensive for you, there are some cheaper options on the bench down here, and they are all from Borussia Dortmund as well. Hummels has the Interceptor Plus, a perfect link to him with Schlotterbeck, and again, left foot, right foot combination. He has block and intercept. Bensebaini has the block trait, and if you did put him into the Evo like I did, he can easily play left back. And Emre Can, as a CDM, has the intercept playstyle as well. All 4 of them can be put in the same team, and they will automatically all be on full chemistry as all 4 play for Dortmund. So if you're going to AI defend, those are the sort of players, those are the tactics that I think you should be using. Now let's have a look at manual defending. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the more professional style of defending, where we actually do it ourselves. We don't rely on the AI to do everything for us. We can't rely on them to stop our opponents from RBing to the byline and doing cutbacks. We can't rely on the AI to stop our opponents from spamming finesse shots and travellas from awkward angles. But what we can do is we can take control of our defenders ourselves, and we can get stuck in, and quite frankly,
if you want some, I'll give it you.
So As I said in part 1, when we talked about AI defending, the EA gave us 2 playstyles to help with AI defending, those of course being Intercept and Block. As proof that they are trying to bridge the gap between manual defending and AI defending, they have given us 4 playstyles to assist with manual defending. And those are Slide Tackle, Bruiser, Jockey, and Anticipate. And we will go through them in that order, starting with Slide Tackle, because it's the least useful, is the best way of putting it. A standard slide tackle playstyle only means that when you go for a slide tackle, there is more chance that the player will come away with the ball rather than it just like pinging off out for a throw-in or potentially going to another opponent. It's only when the playstyle then becomes the playstyle plus that it actually increases the coverage of that slide tackle in the first place. So obviously I use Marquez on my Legends Only RTG, and he has the slide tackle plus, which basically means that I can hit slide tackle from a greater distance or at a slightly riskier angle, and he will still make that slide tackle, and then 9 times out of 10 he comes away with the ball at his feet as well. So it's a useful one to have even in the most basic form, but it's not really as good until it's actually a playstyle plus. The Bruiser playstyle is the first one that gets a little bit interesting. As you can see by the description, the player has greater strength when performing physical tackles. Now, what is defined as a physical tackle is the ones where you do a strong tackle, i.e. you push tackle and the right bumper at the same time to initiate a strong tackle, or if you are someone who uses advanced defending from the game settings. Because if you push A when you're using advanced defending, a player will attempt a shoulder tackle rather than a standing tackle. So that means if you are someone that does use advanced defending, you could use A to attempt a shoulder tackle and then a hard tackle with the right bumper and B, both of which will activate the Bruiser playstyle and allow you much more chance of winning the ball back in those standing tackles. From there, we then move on to the 2 most important ones. Firstly, the Jockey playstyle, which increases the maximum speed of a player when they're jockeying. Now, if you don't know how to jockey, it's when you pull the left trigger when you're defending to potentially manually marshal where you're trying to move your player. And if you have someone with the Jockey playstyle, basically that player moves more fluidly. And of course, they can then transition from a jockey into a sprint at a much quicker rate. That is why players like Jules Koundé, who have Jockey Plus, are so expensive, is because it increases the max speed of the sprint jockey and greatly improves that transition speed. Basically meaning that you can jockey almost at sprint speed, which is at times very hard to control. I know Reece James has this as well, and I tried to use him a few weeks ago, and I really did struggle with the Jockey Plus because I almost thought it was too quick as the players were trying to move around and I was trying to get them in the right position. But with practice, this is a really, really overpowered playstyle at the moment. And then finally, and absolutely most importantly, we have the Anticipate playstyle, which unlike the Slide Tackle playstyle, which only grants the ability to win the ball back, the Anticipate playstyle improves the chances of the standing tackle being successful, as well as granting the ability to actually keep the ball after you win it back as well. And when that becomes Anticipate Plus, obviously those chances are increased even more. And that is why I cannot recommend enough the Laurent Blanc SBC, because he has both the standard Jockey, the standard Bruiser, and the Anticipate Plus, which just makes him possibly the best defender on the game right now. He's so consistent in those tackles, and I've got a clip from you here. And we've got a clip from the same game as earlier where we were actually trying to AI defend, but Laurent Blanc is just so good at defending manually, he's able to pull off tackles like this with absolute ease. And this is what I'm going on about. If you can have that combination of both Jockey and Anticipate, you are really going to do well when it comes to manual defending. And so once again, I have put together a small squad of players. I've not even finished it because I've managed to get all the players I wanted on full chemistry without even needing the 2 centre mids. When it comes to actual tactics, there is nothing you really need to do with this. You don't need to edit or change any of your usual custom tactics in order to manually defend. You just have to make sure you have the right players. So these would be the players that I would advise you go for when you go for manually defending. And you might be looking at Araujo straight away and going, hang on a minute, wasn't Araujo in your advice for AI defending? Well, not only does he have Block Plus, but he also has Jockey, Anticipate, Slide tackle, he's 6'2", medium high, links to all of the overpowered Barcelona women's players, has a Uruguayan link to Valverde, and he is fodder price. We're quite possibly looking at the best value centre-back on the game right here in Araujo. I cannot recommend him enough, and if I wasn't doing a Legends-only RTG, he would probably be in every single team that I make, because he can both AI defend and manually defend at the maximum level. Speaking of players that have all of the traits, that is why I've also advised Collier. Now, I spent 82k on him a few weeks ago for my RTG. He is now a lot cheaper than that and is almost fodder price himself. And that is because he has all 4 manual defending playstyles, as well as blocker plus to prevent the finesse shots and the travellas. This guy just has the lot, and this is what I'm on about. These are the sort of traits you need to be looking for in defenders when you are going to be manually defending. And like I said, I cannot recommend enough the Jockey and the Anticipate. That is again why I've gone for Koundé, because he has got the Jockey Plus and can play at right back and has Relentless, which means he can play at right back all game long. Same with Kachawi. She has the Jockey and the Anticipate. And again with Tchouameni, who has the Jockey, the Anticipate, the Bruiser. And even again, if you want to be one of those who does the AI defending, he's got that Intercept as well. And that's about it in terms of manual defending. There's not a lot I can show you in terms of clips as to how to manually defend. It's just about practice. Make sure you're using the left trigger to jockey, and then it all comes down to timing and the play styles you've got on your players as to what type of tackle to use. If you've got someone with Bruiser, make sure you're going for those hard tackles and you're going for that advanced defending shoulder tackle. If you've got someone with slide tackle or slide tackle plus, make sure you're timing those slide tackles. And if you've got someone with Anticipate, make sure you are using those standing tackles. And if, like me, you've got someone like Collier, just pick and choose your moments based on what tackle you think is appropriate to the situation. All that is left to do is to decide for yourselves what you think is more worth it in terms of whether or not you should go for AI defending or manual defending. As far as I'm concerned, you can break it down into 2 principles, because this is how I see football management in general, not just on EAFC, but in real life football as well. You can either decide that you are going to play a certain way and then bring in players to play that style of play. I.e., if you're going to AI defend, make sure you're going for the likes of Adair Militao and a Sentinel. If you want to do manual defending, make sure you're going for the likes of Collier, because they have those play styles. That's option 1. You go, right, I'm going to fill my team with players to play a certain style of play. Option 2 is you have a look at the untradeable cards in your club. If you're someone that does do a lot of SBCs and has just brought in players over the course of the season so far, and you look through them, you go, right, my best players have Interceptor and Block. That means, in my opinion, you should try and implore more AI defending in your style of play, and you would just find that naturally you'll start picking up more results. Equally, if you've got untradables that have the Jockey trait and the Anticipate, then you should be looking to do more manual defending. At the end of the day, it all just comes down to practice. And I know it's hard because, like I said at the start, this is the hardest we have had defending this year. But EA have given us the tools in these play styles to actually develop a defensive style of play to suit the players that we've got and suit the style of play that you want to enforce. Thank you very much for watching as always. Feel free to let me know down in the comments section whether or not you're going to be trying any of this out, and also let me know what other tutorials you would like to see. I've been overwhelmed with the amount of support the videos have got over the last couple of weeks. I never thought they would do this well. So if you tell me what it is you want to see, I will do my best to try and bring as good as an informative tutorial to you as I possibly can. Thank you very much for watching once again. I'll see you very soon.